Okay, so here's another problem. And I know that in your engineering team, you guys follow best practices. You set up multiple replicas of your Postgres databases running in Kubernetes. When it's in production, you have your etcd database being backed up. But what if this actually happens? If your Postgres database or any database goes down on Kubernetes, how are you ever going to get that data back? That's why you need Velero. So let's talk about it. Okay, so what is Velero? So Velero is an open source tool um, or utility tool that you can use in Kubernetes to be able to back up various applications, various stateful sets within Kubernetes, right? So if you have a database or any form of data persisting application within your Kubernetes cluster, you can use a tool like Velero to be able to save that data within your cloud environment or to an external object storage. How does that work? Okay, so Velero, right, works with CRDs, which are custom resource definitions that extend the basic Kubernetes API objects. So it works with a controller known as the backup controller, which was created by the Velero team, that helps you to perform backups. So you have your backup controller, yeah. So this backup controller is running within your Kubernetes cluster. When you deploy Velero, it deploys this CRD as well. Okay, so how you perform a backup in Velero? If you run the code, maybe Velero backup PSQL backup. Okay, if you run a command like this basically sends a request to the Kube API server, right? Now that request interacts with the backup controller. Okay, the job of that backup controller is to take a snapshot of the PVC that is used to store the data for that application. So if I take a backup of a PostgreSQL database that is running within Kubernetes, right? That's database. Say this is my Postgres application, right? This is Postgres, for instance. Okay, this is a Postgres stateful set. Now this stateful set is working with a PVC. Okay, right? That persistent volume claim is making a claim to a persistent volume that is in your cloud environment. Let's say this is AWS. Okay, this cluster is running in AWS, but let's say this is AWS, and we have an EBS volume here. That's elastic block storage. This elastic block storage is the volume, and your PSQL is making a claim to that volume. Okay, and that's how you're able to get data and store that data from Postgres database into EBS. Okay, so we know that. What Velero does is that it interacts with the your cloud provider's API to take a snapshot of this PVC, right? The PV that this application is using, it takes a snapshot of that. Okay, so it can take a snapshot of that and it stores it perhaps in an object storage, right? If you have to set it up that way. So part of the setup process of Velero is to specify what object storage it's going to. So say you have your object storage S3 here, right? So Velero takes a snapshot of that database and stores it in S3. Okay. You can also set up Velero to just store it in on your local system, but that's no good. It's better to store it in an object storage for persistence and availability for all the engineers, right? That's what Velero does. It takes the snapshot of this and stores it by interacting with the cloud API server. And of course, Velero also needs to make requests to the data store for the Kubernetes cluster to know what PVCs are being used for which application. So it will also interact with etcd as well to query. Okay, So with this, you can actually use Velero to set up scheduled backups. You can use it to set up on-demand backups, right? The scheduled backups can run this process on a particular schedule to basically work to create a cron job that will perform this process at every specified time that you want, every scheduled time that you want it to do this. So this is how you can set up backups for your databases. And the databases, you can set it on a schedule, maybe every 11 p.m. Okay, this process happens. So your data is always being backed up. And you can, when maybe you have an outage or you need to recall a particular point, you can still do Velero backup, restore PSQL backup. And this will go back into where it is stored, right? Because Velero is going to save the location where it is stored also in etcd. So it's going to go back there, get the particular object that is the snapshot of this PVC, and restore that into the database, and you have your database back. I hope this makes sense. If you have any questions on this, just hit me up in the comment section and I'll be sure to get to them. And until then, I'll see you in the next one.